Greetings. Today I'd like to talk to our religious leaders, not only in this country, but truly the religious leaders around the world. The world today is chaotic and dysfunctional. We have problems at every corner. We have problems in our race relations at an all-time low. Our cities are destroying themselves from within because of the violence. We have weapons of mass destruction that can change our societies in a matter of moments and cause our lives to be totally different in seconds. Our religious leaders are a voice for the people, and they're also a voice for the Creator, and the Creator who has given them the responsibility of doing what He wants them to do. When they became religious leaders, they became a voice for the Creator. And the mandate that they have been given is to cry aloud and spare not, and to show my people their transgressions. And His people are the people of this world. One of the problems they have is they have absolutely no idea of what our purpose is. The great Creator had a purpose for living or for making us physical and temporary, and giving us physical lives of approximately 70 years. This life was no secondary thought or an afterthought. This life is serious business. How can you instruct us without knowing what our purpose is? If you knew our purpose, then you should be telling us what that purpose is. Our existence is important, and it's important because the Creator didn't create mankind willy-nilly. He created mankind for a specific purpose. And part of that purpose is He wants us to learn and to understand. And let me give you a brief scenario. When Satan rebelled in heaven because of his pride, God threw him down to the earth. He then said, "Let us make man in our image and after our likeness." And He placed him on the earth with Satan. Now we know that God is not senile, for he realized that He had billions of places that He could have banned Satan to. But He chose to put Satan and mankind on this earth together so that they could coexist. And the reason for that coexistence was the fact that God wanted mankind to learn and to understand what the destructive problems were and the destructive things that would happen because of a prideful attitude. Our human nature is a nature that is based on pride. My definition of human nature is free will without moral direction, fueled by pride, self-interest, self-importance, self-righteousness, a total inward focus, or simply a lack of humility. Our religious leaders must think clearly. They must begin to realize and to understand that the doctrines of this world are the doctrines of the our religious leaders have been teaching us, are doctrines that are unhealthy. For instance, the doctrine of the immortal soul literally was born back in the Garden of Eden, when Satan told Adam and Eve that you won't surely die, you will not surely die. And that has been propagated over the centuries. If you're going to have an immortal soul, which doesn't exist, by the way, then you're going to have some place to put people who are lawbreakers, or people who are troublemakers. So we had to have a place, and it couldn't be a good place, so we had to have a place of eternal punishment. And purgatory was placed in there just so that the church leaders at that time could be able to have some kind of a way in order to pray the errant out of a place of restraint. So this whole world has been deceived, but that's one thing that religious leaders have refused to look at. Let me give you a definition of true peace. True peace is a cessation of hostilities within the heart of mankind. True peace cannot not be attained as long as we have our human nature. Human nature, remember, is free will without moral direction, fueled by pride and self-importance and self-righteousness. These two are closely tied and cannot be divorced one from another. I'd like to refer to the story of the kidnapper in Cleveland. This fella, he kidnapped 3 girls, held them captive for 10 years, tortured and abused these young ladies, and these young ladies had no hope of survival or hope of getting out of it. Well, if you don't believe certain church doctrines, the doctrine of hell especially, then they say that God will send you to a place of unspeakable punishment, not for just 10 years, but forever. And that sounds to me like it's much worse than what the Cleveland kidnapper did. Now, I know some of you religious leaders will turn that off, but actually it is something to think about. Now, you need to realize that God is not a God of harshness. He is not a God of punishment, but He is a God with a plan, and that plan is to train us to go into His world, fully understanding what pride is and what the chaos that it can come from it. For He wants no more Lucifers or Satans in His world, and we are now in the process of learning that process. We have churches on every corner in this nation preaching the Prince of Peace. We pray for peace, we hope for peace, we long for peace, we desire peace, and yet we have no peace. And that is the problem we have in this world today, is because our religious leaders are not explaining why we have such chaos. Our political system is chaotic, our religious system is chaotic, our families are chaotic, and our justice system is chaotic. We are truly a country and a world that is out of order. And it is time, and God will eventually bring it all to pass, where we will eventually understand what the purpose and what the causes of the chaos is. So God has a special plan and a special purpose for you and for me, and also for our religious leaders. But our religious leaders need to wake up and to realize that God is holding them responsible to teach this country and to teach the world about Him and about His purpose for us. Without understanding our purpose, you can't fully understand His Word. Thanks.